Hello and welcome to the Comic Cave. I'm Ramsey, aka Captain Away, and today I'm looking at the 2015 to 2016 series Robin, Son of Batman from DC Comics. Ready for some more Damian Wayne? I hope so, because this comic is that and just that. And if that doesn't get you excited, you're probably a bad person. Let the hate go. Just let it go. Don't start singing though. As I pointed out in my video on it, it's a serious shame how little adventures with Damian Wayne we got in the New 52 Batman and Robin series, especially seeing as how he was one of the two title characters. But after Grant Morrison killed Damian off in the New 52 Batman Incorporated, Batman and Robin really just became another comic about Batman, which the New 52 had 5 of, so that's disappointing. By the end of that series though, Damian had been brought back to life and everyone cheered. Everyone. Even you. Admit it. But almost the moment he came back to life, that series ended. But that's okay, because that series' main artist, Patrick Gleason, would directly continue the story of Damian for this comic. So what further adventures does he have to share with us? Let's find out and take this away. The comic opens on Robin. He's the son of Batman, you know. Damian's attempting to return some sacred scrolls to a temple somewhere that were stolen from that very temple some time ago. Spoiler alert, Damian stole them. We'll get to that later. Damian is halted in his quest by some ninjas and even some man-bats, but it seems Damian has a giant bat of his own. This is Goliath, and Damian is able to summon him with a whistle he keeps around his neck. With Goliath's help, Damian is able to finish his mission, but somebody else is watching him from the shadows and cursing his name. A somebody who seems to be wearing a nobody mask. Nobody, for those who need a refresher, was a guy named Morgan Ducard, who knew Batman's real identity and sought to shut him down. He attempted to essentially adopt Damian as his own sidekick, trying to unleash Damian's killer instinct to make Damian just as much of a ruthless killer as Ducard was. But Damian refused to betray his father, and worried that Ducard would keep coming after them, Damian even killed Ducard. Damian was raised by the League of Assassins, in case you forgot. Anyway, this first story about the scrolls was a preview story DC released. The main comic starts with Robin being left behind by Batman as Bats goes out on a night of patrol. Without him. Again. I love that Damian's shown as still having the red hood mask that he got in the previous series. Also, please don't feed your dog ice cream. That's a really bad idea. But being left alone ends up working out because Robin gets a call from an old servant of the Al Ghul family, who's located on Al Ghul Island. We briefly saw this island in the last series as the location where Ra's al Ghul was creating freakish clones of Damian. The servant informs Damian that someone named Goliath has escaped. Of course, we kinda already know who that is, but just bear with me. So Damian heads to the island to begin the search for him, which shows us that Damian has a vault of secrets that seems to haunt him, but we'll get back to that as well. Robin finds Goliath in the fictional Middle Eastern country of Bialya, where a local nobleman named Abush has captured him because the bat creature, to not call him a man-bat, the bat creature has been eating the local cows. Aw, Goliath hungry. Damian demands Abush free both him and his bat friend, or else he'll lose some teeth. With Damian being 10 though, Abush doesn't believe this threat, so Damian makes good on his promise. Goliath and Robin escape together, but on the return to Al Ghul Island, Goliath flies too high, causing Damian to pass out from oxygen deprivation. While out, Damian has a nightmare about his death and being in hell, and his ghost dad yells at him, demanding to know what the Year of Blood is. The Year of Blood is the year Damian spent before earning the right to meet his father. On his birthday of the previous year, Talia informed him that he was going to go on a quest to obtain many items of great power for the Al Ghuls. These items primarily belong to native and mostly hidden populations, I won't go over the specifics right now because each issue is framed around both the past and present, the taking and returning of each item. Because upon waking from his nightmare, Damian realizes that it's time for him to atone for the Year of Blood. So he enters the vault we saw earlier to reveal it's absolutely filled with junk, and then it's off to South America for the first part of his quest. Here at an ancient Mayan-looking temple, something along the lines of Tikal, during the Year of Blood, Damian had angered the mystical stone guardian of the temple. He used ninjas from the League of Assassins as pawns to distract the guardian while Damian snuck inside the temple to steal its treasure, a vorpal blade that goes snicker snack. Or something like that, I'm sure. Damian used the blade to cut the head off the guardian and keep it as a prize, leaving the native population near the temple without its protector. In the present, the loggers who had been kept away by the Guardian have taken over the area. But now during his Year of Atonement, the first thing Robin does is return the head to the Guardian. It wakes up and immediately attacks Robin, seemingly unaware that any time has passed. It attempts to disorient Damian with some reality warping rainbows, which is definitely the name of my new band. And while affected by these, Damian thinks he sees nobody haunting him. Only there really is a nobody there. A young girl who joins in on attacking Damian, furious with him, even while the living statue is also trying to kill him. To get the Temple Guardian to stop, the two agree to join forces to kick the real invaders out of the town, and recognizing that Damian has repented, the Guardian ceases its attack. Damian promises the Guardian that he'll also eventually return the sword if he can ever find it, but the Guardian doesn't seem to care. It says the real treasure isn't the sword, but something else deep inside of the temple. And now that the townspeople are safe, it returns to sleep. With that taken care of, the nobody focuses on Damian, seemingly ready to kill him, except that she's never killed anyone before. But that doesn't stop her from wanting to kill Damian because he killed her father. This is Maya Ducard, daughter of Morgan Ducard. He apparently had a daughter. Earlier in the issue, we saw her swim down to Morgan's boat at the bottom of Gotham Bay to recover the final recordings the ship made, and finally learn what had become of her dad. Maya promises to kill Robin eventually, but first she's going to help him finish his Year of Atonement, putting right all he originally did wrong. The first place the pair head is to Iceland, where they attempt to return a giant glowing crystal to a tribe of cave-dwelling people who ride giant flying penguin bats, which is maybe the coolest thing I've ever said. I want a giant flying penguin bat. Damian and Maya are fighting too much to complete the mission, so Damian just ends up throwing the rock to the cave people to get them to chase it away. The two kids then get into a full-on fist fight, with Maya spilling her guts, figuratively, revealing that she's jealous that during Damian's brief training time with the original Nobody, Morgan taught Damian secrets he never shared with Maya. Their fight ends with Maya knocking out Damian's tooth, and then a crazed Goliath attacking them both. Goliath had gone crazed after Maya attempted to use the sonic weapons in her gloves, just like the ones her father had, in order to control Goliath. She failed at the time, but Damian is able to guide her into figuring out how to use them now to get Goliath to calm down. At this point, they both realize that the other person is not the villain that they've been thinking they are. Damian assumed Maya wanted to follow in her father's footsteps, but has acted as more of a hero. And Maya assumed Damian was a cold-blooded killer, but now believes he really does desire to do good with his Year of Atonement. I also really enjoy how amused Maya is to learn that the tooth she knocked out of Damian's mouth was a baby tooth. Not entirely sure why that's so funny, but it's still a good moment. Previously to this story, while looking for Damian, Maya had apparently been acting as a mercenary, pretending to be her father and carrying out his contracts. But a mysterious partner of Nobody's is attempting to contact her now. With prompting from Damian to break from her past, she decides to quit that mercenary job and continue working with Damian on his quest. So they head next to Alexandria, to a portion of the city that's sunk below sea level, in order to return some canopic jars. Or in other words, mummy guts. Grossness is right, Maya. Grossness is right. While Damian is busy making his way through ancient traps to return the jars, Maya is attacked by the partner who had been attempting to contact her. Turns out, it was Deathstroke. It seems Nobody owed Deathstroke some money, or maybe Nobody poked out his eye. Look, I made it most of the way through 2 reviews without making an Odyssey joke before I finally broke. You should be proud of me. Damian shows up in time to save Maya, and his fight with Deathstroke is mostly notable for the fantastic art this series has, and it ends with Damian tapping into Daddy's money to pay Deathstroke to go away. The world's deadliest assassin, everybody. Except for all those times that it would be inconvenient to the plot if he was, so he's not. Which is always. Anyway, Damian also discovers that down deep below the city is a Lazarus pit, revealed only after he returned the jars, and possibly indicating that another Lazarus pit may have been that true treasure the Mayan Temple Guardian had been protecting. The duo then returns to Al Ghul Island to gather their next objective, and there they run across Damian's monstrous clone brothers, as this was apparently the island he released them on, as we saw in my video on the previous series. Aww, they like him. So sweet. They also run across Talia Al Ghul, cause it turns out she's alive. Well, that's another thing we saw at the end of the previous series. And every so often in this series, it's been cutting to her as a mysterious figure found her still wandering around near Nanda Parbat and attempted to help her regain her memories. Although it turns out that was for entirely selfish reasons, because this mysterious figure is actually an ancient enemy of the Al Ghuls named Din Darga, who has also been wanting to collect the items from the Year of Blood, as they are items that can grant him great power. Din leads a clan called the Luan Darga, an ancient group that claims to be the first protectors of the Lazarus Pits, and have been immortal rivals of the Al Ghuls. As bad as Raz and the League of Assassins are, the Darga are apparently worse. Raz just wants a balance, a paradise of his own sick creation, but Darga wants to wipe out all life and start again. It seems the trophies Damian was collecting during the Year of Blood were all mystical links to various Lazarus pits, and by taking them away, it denied the Darga that power. But with the items being returned, and Din Darga showing up now to Al Ghul Island to reclaim his helmet, all that power is returning to the Dargas and allowing them to restart their plans for destruction. Din starts by destroying Al Ghul Island, nearly killing Talia and Damian in the process. They're saved from Darga directly by Damian's clones intervening, painted up as Robins themselves. Unfortunately, they all perish in the process, and Damian and Talia still nearly drown in the waters flooding the island. This time, they're saved by Maya, who had considered letting them die, but was moved by the sacrifice Damian's clones made, and together with Goliath, she pulls the mother and son from the water. Talia then takes them all back to Bialya, bringing with her a scepter that is supposed to mark her as the true king of Bialya. Or, well, queen, I guess in her case, no matter how much that Abush guy and his recently replaced teeth want to deny even the remote possibility of a queen. And Talia rightly knocks out his teeth, again, for that sexism. The scepter is another item from the Year of Blood, and we're shown Damian collecting it because that also gives us the background on Goliath. Apparently, down deep below Bialya is an ancient labyrinth that was filled with giant dragon bats when Damian arrived there initially during the Year of Blood. But as he fought his way through the labyrinth to get the scepter, he killed all of these dragon bats until only the smallest remained. And oh my god, baby Goliath is so ridiculously cute. Like, oh my god, how can you be so cute, Goliath? Just look at your little fuzzy cheeks. Damian tries to resist the cuteness, demanding the baby bat dragon still fight him, but instead it just seems to take pity on him, giving him a sweet little lick on the nose. Damian, clearly exhausted and wary of the toll the Year of Blood is taking on him, both physically and psychologically, doesn't know how to respond and simply breaks down and cries. This is what Gleason, and Tomasi when he's on the team, do so well, that so many other creative teams miss about Damian. It's the inner conflict of his upbringing to be a demon, and the reality of his desire to be a good person, and the discovery of his childhood that he was never allowed to have. That's what makes this character so appealing to me, and so much more interesting than the other 3 Robins that we've had before this. Unable to bring himself to kill the last of the bat dragons, Damian takes the little one home with him and adopts him as a pet, naming him Goliath to encourage it to grow up to be a big and mighty warrior. Which it did. Well, big at least. He can be a bit of a chicken sometimes, but he's a fluffy good boy either way. Back in the present, Talia wants Damian to join her while she raises an army to fight Din Darga, but Damian isn't exactly willing to forgive her for having killed him, even though she doesn't remember why she did it since Din Darga took away her memory of it. Instead, he learns from Maya that Batman is currently dead, as we're entering the period of Robo-Bat now. And though Damian feels like all he ever has done is fail, Maya helps him realize that his real story is one of redemption. That while he may have lost his clone brothers and his father, she is now his family. Oh, sister. Yes, that's where that was going, obviously. What were you thinking? She also forgives him, which is a really powerful statement considering, he murdered her father. They decide from there to go their separate ways. Maya decides she needs to find her mother, Robin decides he needs to return to Gotham to help with the situation there, and he sets Goliath free. Goliath's thankful kiss is much less cute now that he's grown. That's essentially where the comic ends, but also, it's not, because there is an entire second volume. That volume begins with a tie-in to the Robin War, because, let's face it, that's the real reason they had Damian return to Gotham. But I'm sure I'll cover that comic eventually, and so I'll talk about this portion then. From there we move to the final story in the series done by Gleason. It sees Damian still in Gotham, checking up on his amnesiac father, before promising to preserve the legacy of Batman. So he heads out into the city and immediately runs across that group of deject Batman villains that had appeared a couple times in the previous series, the one that had been brought together by Terminus. And while stopping their shenanigans, he runs across some lights under the bay and swims down to check out what's going on. Some tech bros in nobody outfits are down in Ducard's sunken ship, looking for clues to the whereabouts of Maya, as they apparently had developed the nobody tech and sold it to Maya, and I guess also her dad, before she vanished off the map. They blow up the ship and Robin again nearly drowns, but he's rescued this time by Goliath showing up out of nowhere to pull him out of the water. Damian then chases down the dude bros, but they reveal that Maya hired them to destroy the ship and wipe its files, so Damian lets them go. We then learn Damian knows exactly where Maya is. She seems to have found her mother and is living a peaceful life somewhere. Little creepy that you can spy that closely on her, Damian. Try being less of a creep, dude. Dude, not cool, dude. Damian and Goliath then head back by themselves to the Batcave, so Damian can introduce Goliath to all of his other pets. And honestly, this is one of my favorite things about Damian. His little menagerie he's collected over the years. They're all such fluffy good boys. Except maybe the cat. The next issue is a flashback to the Year of Atonement, where Damian attempts to return one of his relics from the Year of Blood, which causes them all to see twisted older versions of themselves, like it's the Cave on Dagobah. Even Goliath has an older version. Look how grizzled older Goliath is with his one eye. Still so fluffy though. This was the first full issue written by Ray Fox only. It's possible this was only intended as a filler issue before Gleason returned to the series, but instead, Fox will take over the rest of the comic. The storyline he gives us sees Din Darga dead, killed by the powers he was wielding, I guess. It's not really explained. And his son taking over for him. The son begins returning more of the items from the Year of Blood to their rightful places, in order to continue gathering up power. Robin realizes the Darga seem to have taken some items from his vault, as Al Ghul Island is still standing even though we just saw it destroyed, but whatever. Realizing what they're doing, he heads out to stop them, but always seems to be a step behind. Talia, meanwhile, shows up to Maya and abducts her, claiming that she has betrayed Damian somehow to the Luan Darga. She believes Maya told the Darga the location of Damian's vault, as she's one of 3 people who knows its location. Maya, of course, didn't, and this is a bit of a flimsy excuse to drag her back into the story, but it's fine. It's more fun with her here, honestly. All the forces come together at Gorilla City, a hidden city in Africa populated by sentient gorillas. It's a real thing. in case you didn't know. I mean, in DC Comics. Whatever. The point is, here the son of Din Darga, whose name we now learn is Surin, is attempting to return a helmet, but Talia and Damian each arrive in time to try and stop him. And just in case there weren't enough people fighting this secret war, sorry, wrong company. Just in case there weren't enough people involved in this skirmish already, we also get Batman in the fray. Sadly, Batman doesn't really do a whole lot more than kick a guy in the face and be an unusually doting parent over Damian, so Surin still manages to return the helm to its altar. He then teleports out of there, though Maya grabs onto him before he can fully vanish and ends up being teleported away with him. So Damian convinces his parents to stop bickering with each other long enough to join him in a quest to save the world, and so all three, well, 4 with Goliath, head off to Dinosaur Island. Hardly seems like the time for family board game night, Damian, but you do you, I guess. Oh, sorry, this Dinosaur Island. That makes more sense, seeing as it's, an actual, though a bit obscure, place that has existed in DC Comics for a long time now, filled with, as its name suggests, dinosaurs. There, through a secret entrance hidden inside of a volcano, Surin is attempting to return a gross-ass eyeball thing to what he calls the heart of the Lazarus Pits that lies below the island. Damian fails to stop him, and all the gathered energy from all the returned items powers up Surin, allowing him to begin the spell that will end the world. Having failed to fight him, Damian tries something we've never seen him do before. He attempts to appeal to Surin's better nature. Damian points out that Surin will not survive the end of the world any more than anyone else will, and that Din Darga was just using him to fulfill his sick plans. Surin wants to believe that his father loves him, but Damian points out that Surin had been dead, and Din Darga had the power to revive him, but only did it now, to use him to end the world, rather than at any time before that. Realizing Damian is right, Surin releases the power and ends the spell, allowing the world to live on. And then Damian knocks him out. That's cold, Damian. But as he explains, sometimes you can identify with someone and still have to crush them. Heavy indeed. Batman and Talia fight over who will take Surin into custody, but Robin and Maya decide it better if they take the kid and run away with him. They take him for some fast food. It's pretty great seeing this little trio of children of evil parents attempting to just enjoy normal human activities and kinda failing at it. It's what, ironically enough, makes them such relatable characters. While eating, they're attacked by some Darga ninjas who just fall over without a fight. It seems this is because Din Darga is deep down below the Tunguska crater site in Russia, drawing in the energies of all his followers in order to revive himself. And he's none too happy to find Surin alive and having failed to end the world. The trio show up there to fight him, but no matter what they do, Darga is able to revive himself again and again with the aid of a giant gem. Realizing that it's like a battery for him, Damian uses himself as a conduit for Surin to drain the battery, creating a backlash that destroys Din Darga, but also kills Damian. But Maya and Surin essentially talk Damian's spirit back into his body, pulling him from the brink of death and bringing him back so that they can finish that ice cream those ninjas so rudely interrupted them eating. Man, they fought like that after eating barbecue and ice cream? I can barely go for a walk after a meal like that. Woof. They then fly off into the sunset together, heading off for further adventures. And does anyone else get the feeling like Avatar is starting? Or is it just me? But instead, this comic is ending, so let's ride off to the breakdown. The first volume of this series has legitimately got to be one of my favorite single volumes of a series that exists. I'm not kidding. Maya is a standout hit for this series. She's so well written and such a refreshing addition to the cast. Her rapport with Damian makes this comic so fun and cute and provides us with such great grounds for empathizing with the characters and their struggles. Watching them try and prove to themselves and each other that they are more than just the people their parents were is such a relatable aspect of growing up, and Gleason handles it so well. all while bedazzling us with what I feel is absolutely some of his best artwork to date. In the Year of Blood and Year of Atonement is such a perfect setup for a series, giving us a believable and infinitely expandable excuse for episodic adventures from our heroes. It's such a shame that that portion of the story came to such a quick end. And even more of a shame that the second volume happened at all. Not that the second volume is bad, mind you. Fox and his artist, Ramon Box, do a perfectly serviceable follow-up that doesn't break from the style, tone, and flourish that Gleason set, all while standing on its own as still a good comic. But it also does still feel like this was treated, by DC if no one else, as just a pittance for fans to fill the void until the start of Rebirth. I would have loved for this comic to continue, but these 2 volumes and 13 issues are sadly all we're getting. So as you can no doubt guess, I'll be giving this series a recommendation level of very high. While it would help to read previous Damian stories to fully understand what's going on, the characters and their stories stand so well on their own that it would be difficult for this series to not warm your cold heart at least a little. Yes, I'm talking to you, ya Damian haters, you. Yeah, haters. Yeah. The collected edition gets 2 Robin logos. I was going to give a Nobody mask and a Robin logo, but I couldn't really decide which one was better, and besides, they're both winners here. So that breaks down in a fairly obvious manner. Volume 2 is 7 issues with a bonus cover gallery. And Volume 1 is only 6 issues, but contains that short sneak peek comic, a bonus cover gallery, and a bunch of bonus sketchwork including uninked pages and character sketches, particularly some of adorable baby Goliath. Look how cute and fluffy! DC could have marketed the hell out of that character. Baby Yoda who? More like Baby Yoda who cares, am I right? Yeah? No? Alright. Thanks everybody for watching and Happy New Year! I want to thank everyone who has come along for the ride so far. You have made this journey worth it. It's so great to see so many new and old faces in the comments all the time now. It's still amazing to me just how much this channel has blown up in the last year. We've nearly doubled the number of subscribers this channel had at this time last year, and it took me 4 years to get that far originally. Amazing. Anyway, gonna break from Batman for a bit to cover some X-Men, as you guys have been asking me to do. So if you're excited about that, or you liked this video, or you just want the chance to prove you're a hero too, then be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and all those things so you can be sure to stick around for next time, and I hope to see you then, right here in the Comic Cave.